You're on the Spot with Mande Wilkes.
Welcome to On the Spot. I'm Mande Wilkes. I hope you're all having a great and happy Thanksgiving. I spent the holiday with my in-laws in Atlanta, and that means I spent most of Thanksgiving giving thanks that Thanksgiving only comes around once a year. And hey, I'm just saying what we're all thinking, right? No, I really do wish you're all having a great, I hope you're all having a great Thanksgiving weekend. Now that the holidays are here and are upon us, the show On the Spot has partnered with Mercy Care Hospice. I love Mercy Care, great for the community, to help bring peace and ease and grace to terminally ill people and the families of those who are terminally ill. With your help, Mercy can keep doing amazing things for the community, even better than last year. And last year was an amazing banner year for Mercy in terms of how much Mercy was able to help people in this community. Just listen to these numbers. Last year, with the help from generous community members like you and local businesses, Mercy Hospice did all these things. Mercy last year cared for 522 hospice patients, counseled 235 children who are grieving the loss of a loved one, supported 1,460 grieving adults, honored 320 veterans, dedicated almost 1,600 volunteers to make, calls to those dealing with bereavement and grief, and provided information and health checks to more than 6,000 people in this community. Now, to donate or volunteer with Mercy Care, a great organization, go to mercyhospice.org. They have a really good event coming up I want to tell you all about. I'll try to remind you next week. It's on Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. at Beach Church. Mercy Hospice is holding its annual Christmas memorial service. It's a tree lighting service follows, but the memorial service honors lost loved ones, something Mercy does every year. It's a great event. It's a really nice thing to do around the holidays if you are grieving or if you know somebody who is grieving. For more information, like I said, that is Thursday, December 15th at 7 p.m. at Beach Church. That's the memorial service, and then a tree lighting service, a really nice event always, follows that memorial service. For more information on that event, go to mercyhospice.org. Now, Mercy Care is one of the most beneficial organizations in this community in terms of direct benefit to people in this community, in the Grand Strand, in the PD area. And I'm really happy to spread the word about all the great things that Mercy Care Hospice does for the community. And now, speaking about organizations doing great for the community, we got to switch tracks a little bit. You guys are paying close attention to one nonprofit organization that you worry allegedly might not be doing all the good for the community that its directors would have us believe. What I'm referring to is the K-12 Foundation that puts on the annual Horry County Dancing with the Stars fundraiser and event. Now, the Horry County Dancing with the Stars fundraiser happened just last week, and so what I was looking for was, ways to promote it on this show right here and show what the foundation and Horry County Dancing with the Stars has made possible for kids in this area. The point of the foundation is to help educate children, needy children, underachieving children, to help educate. I talk a lot on this show about the importance of education, so I was really excited to bring some attention to the great things that the foundation has done in terms of educating children, especially needy and underachieving children. But guess what? You guys tipped me off not to the great things that the Horry County Dancing with the Stars event might be accomplishing, but to some of maybe, allegedly, not great, and hopefully not, but maybe, sketchy things that Horry County Dancing with the Stars could be doing. Take a look at this nonprofit tax return last year. This was filed for the 2010 tax year. Now look at this. The foundation spent almost $87,000 to put on this Horry County Dancing with the Stars event fundraiser. But guess what? As far as the tax return is concerned, the tax return we're looking at right here, only about $8,000 actually looks to have gone. Now that's for the entire year. Only about $8,000 over the course of an entire year looks to have gone toward actually educating students. Most of that $8,000 looks to have gone toward books, which is a great cause. But take a look at how much money the foundation is hoarding. Look at this number right here. Again, this is from the same tax return 2010. Almost $350,000 that the K-12 foundation, that does the Horry County Dancing with the Stars, hoarding almost $350,000 in cash. That's why some of you are getting very suspicious, and I agree, because you guys want to know why the organization is sitting on the cash that it makes sense it should be dispersing to children, helping to educate needy and underachieving children. I mean, isn't that the point of a nonprofit, to not only fundraise, but to disperse the funds that have been raised? So, that's why you guys are suspicious, and I agree. So I asked the accountant that exact question, the accountant that filled out the tax return. I said to him, his name is Bob Callahan. Very nice, though he was very clear with me. He didn't appreciate the media digging in to the records. But he was nice enough, even without that. I asked Mr. Callahan, who was responsible for the tax return we just looked at, why the organization is sitting on $350,000 in cash instead of helping the kids in our community, which is the whole reason it was granted nonprofit status to begin with, right? Well, Mr. Callahan, the accountant, I couldn't get much from him other than the usual ordinary tax mumbo-jumbo accountant doublespeak. So what I did was I went to the organization's consultant, Marcia Griffin. I called Marcia, and I spoke with her a little bit, and there's something that I have to mention this. This is a very interesting thing. It's also reflected on the tax return. Marcia Griffin makes about $48,000 in consulting fees for being the consultant for the K-12 Foundation and for helping put on the Horry County Dancing with the Stars event. Now, I don't begrudge Marcia any consulting fees if she's indeed working towards helping educate needy and underachieving kids. But look, let's put her consulting fees in perspective for a minute. $48,000, which is what she was paid by the foundation last year, represents 5 times as much as it looks from the tax return that the organization gave to children over the course of a whole year. Something doesn't seem to add up here. That's what you all told me, and I agree. So I spoke with Marcia, and I asked her 2 very straightforward and I think easy to answer, easy to document questions. The first question I asked her was, what specifically Horry County Dancing with the Stars has done, and the K-12 Foundation has done, to help educate needy and underachieving children? And the second question I asked her was, why is the foundation sitting on almost $350,000 in cash rather than using that money to help educate needy and underachieving students like it's supposed to be doing? I mean, that's the purpose of the organization, right? Now, Ms. Griffin emailed me back a response to my very straightforward and direct questions. Let's see what you think of this email. Does it answer any questions for you? It didn't for me. Mandy, understand you had a good conversation with Bob Callahan at Smith Sapp, the accountant. My board chair is out of his office for Thanksgiving. I talked with him, and we, board chair, Dick Lester, accounting firm, Smith Sapp, and our attorney at Nelson Mullins, will be glad to sit down and talk with you after Thanksgiving when everybody is back in place, discussing the foundation's corpus we have created, as well as the enrichment activities Horry County K-12 Foundation provides for the ECHS. Thanks for your interest. Have a blessed Thanksgiving, always remembering to count your blessings and that together we have the power to transform lives. Regards, Marcia W. Griffin. Now, Ms. Griffin, I absolutely agree about the power to transform lives and the power that your nonprofit has to transform the lives of needy and underachieving kids. And that's exactly why I'm asking the question on behalf of viewers today, why in the world are the foundation's board of directors sitting on so much cash when it should be, by all rights and purposes, as a nonprofit, using the money it's raising not to help the bank, but to educate children? Who knows? Now, who knows? I'll be very honest here. Maybe the foundation is doing great things to help the children in this area get educated. But, you know, the bottom line is there's a lot of cash that the organization is sitting on and hoarding, and only a tiny, tiny percentage of that has been demonstrated, last year at least, to go to kids. That's what we can see from the tax return. This is a nonprofit, and because of that, it deserves a lot of scrutiny from the public, from you, and from the media. And that's why I'm really glad that you all brought this to my attention, especially considering the people involved in the foundation and in Horry County Dancing with the Stars. You have a lot of local politicians involved in this. And you also have a lot of, I mean, basically the people involved reads like, almost like a who's who of, you know, of Myrtle Beach Mafia. What am I talking about? For example, we have some people involved from Burroughs and Chapin. Also involved is the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce, Mark Lazarus. Also involved, Shep Guyton, who you'll remember allegedly worked with the Myrtle Beach Chamber of Commerce to pay off legislators to pass the very controversial and reckless ad tax. Now, I really wish that a representative from the foundation hadn't put off, postponed, shied away from a sit down with me on the spot, right here, on the spot. I really wish that, because there's nothing more I hope. I really, really care about education. I hope to have children soon. I've grown up in this community. I was educated in this community. My children will be educated in this community when I have children. There's nothing I would love more, honestly, than to come back here after sitting with the board of directors for the K-12 Foundation and the people involved with Horry County Dancing with the Stars and say, you know what? Look at all the great things that this foundation has done to educate needy and underachieving kids in our community. I really hope to come back with that. I just wish that that I hadn't been postponed, and that, you know, we could hear directly from the people involved, because given the people involved and given what we see from the tax return, you just saw it there in black and white, we have to demand accountability when things don't appear to add up. Otherwise, what we end up with is a lot like what we talked about last week with crony capitalism, corruption, the good old boys system, you know, just the general boys clubs, culture of corruption, we have to demand accountability, transparencies, answers. We have to demand answers from the people in charge. Otherwise, we end up with really a true culture of corruption. And with your help, I will not let that happen. So I do look forward to hearing what the K-12 Foundation, represented by Marcia Griffin as the consultant, and the board of directors of that foundation has to say about what they've done. You know, show us what have they done to help needy and underachieving kids in the community, and why in the world they're sitting on almost $350,000 in cash rather than helping kids. When I'll be, you know, speaking about culture of corruption, I will be right back with our Government Gone Wild segment of the week. And it is a good one and a serious one this week. Stay right there. I'll be right back with Government Gone Wild. Welcome back to the Government Gone Wild segment of the week. Now, sometimes, a lot of times, the Government Gone Wild segment is lighthearted and, you know, kind of fun, kind of poking fun at this wild, wild government we have. This week, it's much more serious. You know, the government has gone wild with war, and that's why I am right here declaring a war on a war. Listen, we're spending $2 billion every week. That's every week. We're spending $2 billion in just Afghanistan alone. There really isn't any wonder why our national debt is so out of control. Now, this is really, really such a serious issue. That's all I could think about when I was listening to the Republican presidential debate a few days ago. And what did I hear? I heard basically all of the candidates use the platform as an opportunity to talk about all the people and places that America should go to war with. Guess what? We can't afford it. You want to talk national security? There's nothing that makes America less secure than debt, than this crazy, crippling debt to the tune of trillions of dollars. That's national insecurity. And what's got this country in so much debt and continues to dig us deeper in debt are these endless wars that go on for 10, 11, 12, who knows how many years. The government has gone wild with war. I'm declaring a war on war to stop the madness, stop the government from going wild, and stop the government from going to these endless wars that dig us deeper into debt and make our nation less, not more secure. And I will be right back. Stay right there. Welcome back. Let's talk I-73. Guess what? I've changed my mind. That's right. I'm flip-flopping on I-73. I've been saying, and I said even as recently as a couple of weeks ago in a television interview, that we can't afford I-73. Guess what? We can afford I-73 with a combination of pay-as-you-go roads and public-private partnerships. It's worked elsewhere in the nation. A bunch of other states have adopted this model. It keeps us from going bankrupt, and it also brings jobs and brings business, most of all commerce, jobs, commerce, business, revenue to the state without bankrupting taxpayers. That was my biggest concern. That's why I've been saying, oh, I wish we could afford 73, but we can't. Now we can. This is a best of both worlds scenario because the combination of public-private partnerships and pay-as-you-go roads brings business and jobs to this area without bankrupting taxpayers. Now, what I can't quite figure out is why area leaders, officials, and legislators keep pushing for us to bankrupt taxpayers to pay for I-73. I don't get it. I don't know why nobody else is coming forward and saying, hey, we can do this without bankrupting taxpayers, and we can do it the right way. And that the right way is not to bankrupt taxpayers in the hopes of bringing business. You just don't do that. You don't go broke trying to get things back in order. So I'm really disappointed that I don't hear other people in this area talking about how we can meaningfully and rightfully, not recklessly, bring 73 here. I can't wait to talk about all the possibilities and potential for the community. In a later show, we'll have some experts on here, talk exactly about, a little bit more in depth what I mean when I say pay-as-you-go roads. Who's going to pay for that? Huge question. I know you guys are wondering. Not you. That's the important part. Not you, not me, not us. We're not going to be paying for it. We also talk a little bit about what I mean about public-private partnerships. I think we can all agree the private sector does a much better job at roads and at pretty much everything else than the government. So like I said, we will talk about this in depth in a later show. For now, I'm excited to say that I have flip-flopped, and I do believe we can afford I-73. When I get back, I will tell you what's got me hot and bothered this week. I'll be right back. Welcome back. I'm hot and I'm bothered, and it's not just because you decided to turn me on in your living room this morning. Today, I'm hot for the good, relatively good unemployment numbers for the Grand Strand. Guess what? Something really interesting is happening. As the winter nears, which means as the tourist season has been winding down, unemployment numbers have gotten better. More people are able to find jobs and less people are out of work. Now, a lot of people have expressed confusion about why this is, why employment has been better in the fall and winter months than in the spring and summer months. This isn't hard. I've been saying this for months on MandeWilkes.com. The biggest problem, the biggest thing we can do, the thing we have most direct control over in our community to get people back to work is to not let non-U.S. citizens get work permits to come and steal jobs, take jobs from you, from me, from Americans right here in the Grand Strand. This is very controversial. This is very controversial. Not everybody will agree with me on this because a lot of you out there running businesses, and to this point, I completely understand it. I've grown up in small business. To this day, my family, my husband, my parents work in small business. That's our living. I get how hard it is for small business to find workers, to find good, reliable, skilled workers, especially in this area. And I understand why people say, hey, without non-U.S. citizens being granted work permits, my business is going to close. Look, I understand that. I also understand we've got to get people in this area, in the Grand Strand, in the PD, back to work. The quickest, easiest, most direct way we can do that is not going to grow government, it's not going to grow budget, it's not stimulus spending, it's none of that. It's to not grant work permits to people who aren't American citizens. Look, fair is fair. Jobs go to Americans first. What's left over, then we can talk, then we can put it on the table. So that's why today I am very hot. I'm very excited that jobless numbers are getting better. Seem to be getting better. I hope the trend continues. I really do. Now, for what's got me bothered. I'm bothered by Congress this week, and really, who isn't? Last week, we talked about Congress's abysmal, worst ever record disapproval rating. I'm not calling it an approval rating. It's a disapproval rating. Nobody likes Congress. I'm bothered by Congress today. Why? Because Congress is playing the stock market on insider tips, insider trading, and it's on the backs of taxpayers. Talk about crony capitalism and corruption, right? These career politicians in Washington already get paid almost $180,000 a year on taxpayers' backs as well, and they're getting even richer by doing something that's illegal for the rest of us, insider trading. Now, Congress says insider trading is legal for people in Congress, but I don't understand that. I thought the whole point of America was that the rule of law applies to you and to me and to the people in Washington, but Congress says otherwise. They say they should be able to do insider trading and get rich from doing what is illegal if the rest of us were to do it. That's what Martha Stewart went to jail for, remember? Insider trading. Is Congress better than Martha Stewart? Come on. You know what? It's career politicians leeching off of taxpayers, breaking the system. Again, crony capitalism, corruption, the good old boy system. It really, really is a good old boys club up there in Washington. I can't stand this insider trading. It's a flagrant, really, I think the most flagrant assault on the concept of public service that we've seen in a really long time than maybe I've seen even in my lifetime. And that's why today I, like the rest of you, am very, very bothered by Congress. All right, when we get back, I will be talking to South Carolina's own Donald Trump, as I affectionately call him, Harry Pavlak. We'll be talking about property taxes, and seriously, stay right there, because with regard to property taxes, I have a challenge and a mission for us all, and I'll tell you what that is when we come right back with Harry Pavlak. Welcome back to On the Spot. Before the break, I told you that I have a mission for all of us with regard to property taxes. That's right, the mission is we're going to confront the slumlord. The slumlord, the Horry County Council, the Horry County Assessor's Office, the ones who will not return your property tax appeals, and the slumlords, who continue to use old 2008 figures to assess the value of your house when your house isn't worth nearly as much now as it was in 2008. Now, my next guest, Harry Pavlak, South Carolina's own Donald Trump, as I like to call him. We've had him on the show before. He knows better than anybody how property taxes can completely sink and bankrupt a business, a person, a bunch of businesses, like it's doing to all of you guys. Welcome, Mr. Pavlak. Glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
All right, you know, as I just said, you're going through a bankruptcy right now. It's a tough time, $72 million, I believe. A big part of that has to be property taxes pulling you under. As the value of your property went down, the taxes either went up or stayed the same. I mean, what did that do to you? Did the property taxes pull you under and cause you to go into this bankruptcy that you're dealing with?
Property taxes were one of the items because a lot of the properties went down so fast. I think the height of the game was in 6, 7, and then midway through 7 they started going down drastically. So if people have properties, their houses, and if you can look and see on your tax notice that you get when they did the appraisal, because you really want them to do the appraisal in 11. I've seen a lot of 11 appraisals, but if they've done your appraisal in 7, 8, 9, then you're probably paying tax and based on not the real worth of your property today.
Exactly, and that's what I mean by we have to confront the slumlord. And what do I mean by that? Thursday, December 8th at 4 o'clock in Conway at the Horry County Council, the Horry County Assessor's Office, we're going to all join together and we're going to demand the answers to 2 questions. The first question is, as Mr. Pavlak just was talking about, why is the Horry County Assessor's Office still using 2008 figures? Remember, that was still during the real estate bubble, to assess the value of your house, when in 2011 that value is nowhere near what it was in 2008. That's the first question that we're going to demand answers to when we confront the slumlord at the Horry County Council and the Horry County Assessor's Office Thursday, December 8th at 4 o'clock. The second question we have to have answered is, why does the Assessor's Office and the Appraiser's Office refuse to respond to the appeals of 7,000 of you who have appealed the value of your property because of what we just talked about, and the Appraiser's Office, the assessor, won't even have the courtesy, the respect, the basic common sense to respond to these appeals. We wouldn't stand for it from any business. We will not stand from it from the government, and that's why confront the slumlord. Can we expect you, Mr. Pavlak, to confront the slumlord? This has really pulled you down, and I can hear when you talk about it. This has been a big part of your bankruptcy. Can we expect you to confront the slumlord with us?
I'll help you in any way I can. As I mentioned to you, I had a couple tax notices I was looking over, and we have a couple tracts of property. One of them, they're both 60 acres. They're both about 59 acres of wetlands and 1 acre of highland. One bill is like $4,900 on one piece of the wetlands. The other bill is $33.90.
It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
Same exact type properties, exactly. One's $5,000, the other one's $33.
And it's hurting the taxpayers. It's hurt you to the tune of $73 million now. Let's move on for a minute. We just have a couple more minutes. I know you watched the show last week where we talked about the culture of corruption, Penn State in particular. As a Clemson grad, you have a lot to say about this. You have some interesting ideas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think Clemson is very similar to Penn State. They're in real small towns. The only thing in Clemson, and it has similar number of students, is the college. State College, PA, is the same way. It's sitting out in the woods, and the only thing there is the college. And it seems like the people that run the football teams in Clemson, when I was there, and Penn State, are the head coaches of the teams, and they sort of run the whole show inside out.
It's what we were talking about last week, where we talked about the culture of corruption and the boys' clubs and people not standing up. And glad to have you on to talk about it. We are out of time today. Hope everybody is having a great Thanksgiving. That's it for today's show. Next Sunday, same time, same place. Keep turning me on, and I'll keep turning you on. I'll be at mandewilkes.com till then.